Are there hidden graves on Epstein Island? Take a look at this historical image from 2006. What are all these little dirt mounds? Now follow with me. Here we see 2009, 2013, and as we go through the years, those dirt mounds disappear and a tennis court is built atop that mound. Now, that isn't unusual. This is, after all, an island owned by a billionaire. However, you can see it's close to the temple area, and we still haven't fully explained what those dirt mounds are. Now, they could be trees, they could be something totally natural, and I might be reaching here, but I saw someone talking about this online, and I thought it was really peculiar, because then years later in 2019 and 2020, all of a sudden the tennis court is gone. After Jeffrey is arrested and found dead, the tennis court disappears and the area returns back to dirt and earth. So, what were those mounds? Why was the tennis court built so hastily? Why was the tennis court removed in the first place when everything else on the island remained, like the temple and the sundial? And I mean, I don't know. I'm not obviously a topographical master and I don't understand really what I'm looking at, but this does look really strange to me. So if you have any ideas on what I'm looking at, please let me know in the comments. The art that Epstein had in this room in his mansion is so disturbing that I had to censor it, and it's definitely a piece of art that we need to talk about. So take a look at this room. These are images released by the DOJ, and these images show a bedroom inside of Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan, New York mansion. The room, in my opinion, clearly looks like it was designed for a child of some sort. I mean, as an adult, you could love the color pink. I mean, pink is my favorite color, but the paint job on this room and the kind of green headboard, I mean, everything looks whimsical. This just feels to me like a child's bedroom, or like it was meant to emulate the bedroom of a child. And then you flip the camera around and you see that on the wall is this piece of art. Now, let's take a look at this. I had to censor this artwork myself, but as you can see here, this figure right here is clearly a child. And in the uncensored image or painting, the child is, as disturbing and disgusting as it sounds to say this, but excited. And you can visually observe that from looking at this figure's private area. I know it's disturbing to say, but it's true. Then you've got here what appear to be adult women or spirits or gods, whatever these figures are supposed to be, staring longingly at the child's, let's just say, stiff area. I hate even saying that, but yeah, this is a really, really strange painting, and I did some reverse image searching, and I confirmed that yes, this is supposed to depict a child, and these are supposed to be adults. And yes, this work of art is as strange as I believed it was just visually observing it. So then it really makes you wonder, why is this painting in a room that looks like this? Like, I mean, there's just something so wrong about this. There's no decorations on the walls at all. They are painted this garish pink color. This looks to be literally like a bedroom designed for a child, but there are no accents. There's nothing like that. Just some strange, once again, also kind of out of place furniture. But then you flip around and you see this canvas painting depicting something incredibly disturbing that takes up almost the entire wall. And the colors do not match the walls at all. They don't match anything else in the room. It's just so strange. And to me, clearly Epstein and associates would place artwork like this or place photos like this in these properties to get people into a certain frame of mind and to basically kind of silently scream what they liked, what they were into. And it's by analyzing a lot of this art and this decor that you can really gain an insight into Epstein's mind. So I'm not going to stop talking about this, but I was just shocked I hadn't seen one article about this in mainstream media. This Epstein file is going to piss you off. So here's the EFTA number for those who want to read this themselves. So this information comes from a U.S. Attorney Memorandum, an official document discussing the investigations by authorities into Jeffrey Epstein. And let me just read you this paragraph. Now, remember, Epstein, at the time that this was all happening, was recently convicted of sexual charges involving minors, and he was suspected of being a sex trafficker. When he was in jail, Epstein would have his lawyer, Darren Indyke, and a paralegal bring him a computer, which he used to have video sex with blank. While Epstein was on work release, a number of women visited him at his office and would watch movies with him on a couch. At some point when Epstein was on work release, blank was put on his approved driver list and would drive him back to jail at night in a Suburban with a mattress in the back. Most nights, she and Epstein would park near the jail and have sex in the back of the car. Epstein seemed friendly with the guards at the jail, but she does not know why he was permitted these freedoms. So, I want you to think about this. Epstein was barely in prison and barely into his sentence after being convicted on sex charges, sex crimes against minors. Epstein is allowed to have video sex on a computer. He is allowed to have women come over to his office to watch movies and snuggle and do God knows what on a couch. He's even allowed to have someone pick him up and drop him off back at jail with a mattress in the back of the vehicle. And he's, essentially permitted to have sex with this person. And this is while he's in prison, barely in prison, on charges of sexual impropriety and for, molesting multiple minors. Even though I know that that's not essentially what he was convicted of. I mean, he was accused of that and everybody knew that that's what he was guilty of. So why was he given these privileges? Especially when he was only a year or two into his prison term. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense to me. But yeah, this story just continues to amaze me as more and more details are revealed. I'm going to stay on top of this. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And follow along for more. So I was going through the Epstein files the other day and I noticed something that I haven't seen anybody talking about. This is an image from the files taken on Epstein's Island. As you can see here, here's the EFTA number, but I want you to look right here. In some versions of this photo that I've seen online, this image has been redacted in this area. And if we zoom in, we can see why. As you can see above me, these are two images of what appear to be children on Epstein Island. And no context at all is given for these photos. We don't know whose children these are. We don't know why pictures of these kids are in and on Epstein's Island. And once again, to me, it's just one of those strange things where usually, like let's say you go to your uncle's house or your aunt's house, they're gonna have pictures of your entire family, like your mom, your dad, you, your brother. They're not just gonna have a photograph really of you or your brother. I mean, they might, but if you take a look at Epstein's properties, there are so many pictures of children all over the place. It is just so incredibly strange and eerie. And I've talked about this before. I mean, Epstein was a maximalist. He loved putting pictures on every single surface. And the pictures never make sense and they're so strange. So if anybody has seen any information about who these kids might be, I would really appreciate you letting me know because I can find absolutely nothing online. We now have proof that evidence went missing in the Epstein investigation. I mean, this is an absolute bombshell dropping. Read this. Materials from the search warrant executed by the Palm Beach Police Department in 2005 confirm that computers appeared to have been removed from Epstein's Palm Beach residence prior to the search. So here's the EFTA number for this document. This comes from a memorandum sent to the U.S. attorney at the time, December 19th, 2019, talking about an investigation into potential co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein. So let's read what this document has to say. In 2005, Epstein directed blank to collect all contact books and computers from his Palm Beach residence and provide them to a man who met blank at the residence. Blank was present for the conversation in which Epstein gave blank these instructions. Sometime later in 2005, blank also asked blank to take the contact books from the Virgin Islands and shred them. Epstein was under investigation at the time. At some point when she was in Miami with Epstein and blank was directed to drive to Palm Beach to meet someone there. Both blank and Epstein told blank to drive to Palm Beach. Blank did not understand what was going on, but she recalls Epstein saying something happened with a visa. Epstein and blank directed blank to gather computers and directories from the Palm Beach house and give them to a man who would meet blank there. Blank gave blank the phone number of the person blank was to meet in Palm Beach. Blank followed these instructions and gave the computers and directories from Palm Beach to a man who met her at Epstein's Palm Beach residence. After blank completed that task in Palm Beach, blank asked blank to gather the directories from Epstein's Virgin Islands residence and bring them back to New York. Blank reminded blank to check every building on Epstein's Island for the directories. Blank followed the instruction and brought the directories to Maxwell's house in New York, where she gave them to blank. Blank then told blank to shred the directories in Maxwell's house. Blank also recalled an instance when Darren Indyke met with her and told her that if she ever needed help, she should not talk to the police. And then you can see this kind of note at the bottom saying that, yeah, it appears that stuff was removed from Epstein's Palm Beach mansion. Mainly the computers, directories, things that would have, I don't know, shown Epstein's clientele list, shown who he was interacting with, or even shown blackmail materials. The computers and all those data storage devices would have had the blackmail material on them. So removing those computers and destroying those computers really meant destroying all the evidence. And I find this insane that nobody's talking about this. I hadn't even heard of this until this morning. And it should be noted that it says that this girl, I'm assuming she was a victim/survivor, she brought the computers and directories to a mysterious phantom man who met her at Epstein's Palm Beach residence who took those materials from her. But we don't know who that man is. We don't know his name or his identity. He's just a shadowy figure that we know eventually possessed Epstein's materials. I mean, this story is crazy. Jeffrey Epstein's nightstand contains some details that I find to be a little frightening. So this image comes from the recent DOJ drop, and this is an image of what I believe is Epstein's nightstand in his New York mansion. I mean, I know it's in New York, but I think this is Epstein's personal nightstand. So let's take a bit of a closer look. On the right side, these appear to be skincare products. He's got cotton pads up there. I think this may be a picture of Epstein in that frame, lying on a beach sans clothing. Moving towards the center, he's got his glasses. This is a childhood, that's a baby picture of Epstein. Now, this is interesting. Of course, he's got Voss water, the bougiest water known to man, but he's also got this peculiar little hand that is holding something that I can't identify. But I don't know, it just stuck out to me, the hand, it's just a strange little sight. Then on the left side of the nightstand, we've got this old looking clock, what looks to be a remote of some sort, an old looking telephone. I think this is a book, which looks to be straight out of like the 1600s. I mean, look at how brown those pages are. And then eerily a stuffed animal up here. Now, I don't know why Jeffrey Epstein would need a stuffed animal by his bedside, but I mean, he is a convicted, or was a convicted pedophile. So having all the pictures of kids around the house, being accused of what you were doing, being a trafficker, having a stuffed animal by your bedside on your nightstand, that to me paints a bit of a darker image. Moving on, in the drawer, we have, these two are audio recorders. So like you could dictate, hold, the record button and talk to yourself throughout the day. I don't know what this thing is. If someone could let me know what that is, I would really appreciate that. But, I wonder if they ever actually scanned in or transcribed, whatever the word would be, these audio cassettes, Jesus, I can't talk, that would have been in these recorders. I mean, these recorders would essentially be Epstein talking to himself throughout the day. I feel like that would provide a very compelling insight into his mind and potentially also into his operation. And then on the right side, you've just got some paper. So very strange stuff, some dated technology, what seems to be almost picture of Epstein without clothing, a baby picture of himself, skincare products, Voss water, an extremely old looking book, and then a stuffed animal, a stuffed toy up top right next to the bed. These are the items that Jeffrey Epstein slept next to every night in New York, and I believe that they tell a story of their own. But why don't you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section? What do you make of all of this? What do you make of these items? And follow along for more details.